I just point to the logo on my chest and tell them, Slammy, ego, Slammy, ego, Slammy, ego, Slammy, hey. Hit it up hard, hit it with a strike. From the national anthem to the bottom of the night. Amen. Slammy, ego, Slammy, ego, Slammy, ego, Slammy, hey. You already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. We should know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 341 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fadden here with you on this Saturday. I usually don't do shows during the off season on a Saturday, but Kevin Acee just dropped a huge news piece, a really short Q&A with Manny Machado this morning from the Peoria Sports Complex. And we didn't know this when Manny talked to the media the other day, but I guess he set a deadline with the San Diego Padres on extension talks. Manny Machado admitted this to Kevin Acee in the San Diego Union Tribune. It's up on Instagram, at Talking Friars, on Twitter, at Talking Friars. The link is there as well on the Twitter account. But here's the Q&A. So Kevin, he asked Manny today, Manny, is it true that you and your agent gave the Padres a deadline in early December before the winter meetings? Yes, we did, Manny replied. Then Kevin asked him, was that deadline February 16th, which was Thursday? Manny replied, absolutely. Kevin Acee said, why February 16th? And does the deadline mean that you are done negotiating? Answer from Manny, he didn't say he was done negotiating, but he said, quote, I just wanted to focus on baseball, so once the season started, I didn't want to really continue talking about contracts or the business side of things. I just want to focus on my team and the guys in here and what our goal is to win a championship. So Thursday was our deadline, and after that, it was just focus on baseball, going out there and winning. So Thursday was the deadline. But here again, Kevin in this question said, does that mean that you're done negotiating? Manny did not directly answer that. But he set a deadline. He did reply to Kevin, yeah, the deadline was February 16th. And then Kevin continues questioning Manny here. Is it true that the only offer the Padres made was 2 days before the deadline? And Manny replied, yeah. Then Kevin with the question here, and the offer was for 5 years at $21 million a year, correct? Manny smiles and then says, quote, you can write out whatever you want, honestly. I don't know how you get this information, but write whatever. And then Kevin replied, okay, thanks. So Manny, when Kevin asked Manny, 5 years, $21 million a year, added on to, it seems like the 5 for 150 that is left on the contract if he didn't opt out. Manny smiled. He didn't say that's wrong. He just said you can write whatever you want. If it was wrong, it doesn't seem like Manny likes Kevin Acee too much, right? So if this was wrong, wouldn't have Manny just said, yeah, that's totally wrong? But he smiled and said you can write whatever you want. That leads me to believe that Kevin is right here. I don't know if we don't know if it's 5 years, $21 million a year tacked on, like specifically that, but it seems like he's in the range. Because if he was wrong, I would tell the reporter, no, you're wrong. So, yeah, my reaction to this is I'm surprised. I'm very surprised by the Padres' offer here. So I'm not surprised that Manny set this deadline. I thought the deadline would be more like before opening day, because he's talking about, now I want to focus on winning games. Well, you're not playing any games right now, right? So it's spring training. You're taking BP off of Joe Musgrove today, right? You can talk now. So I'm surprised by that early of a deadline, but I'm not surprised that he set a deadline on it. I am surprised by the Padres lowball. 5 years, $105 million that's what they're tacking on. That's what their offer is. 5 years, $105 million. They're tacking that onto the 5 years, $150 million left on Manny's extension, or Manny's current contract. That was their offer. So 5 years, 150 from 2024 to 2028. And then they add on 5 more years at $105 million, $21 million a year on the last 5 years of the deal. So in total, that would be what, 10 years, $255 million? That was the Padres' offer, essentially. $255 million. That's not good enough. That is a low ball offer. And I know that the team, they're not going to go offer Manny $400 million right out of the gate, like as the first offer. But to offer $255 million, that's it, to the face of the franchise, to the captain of the team, especially when they just gave Xander Bogaerts $280 million. Let's put that into context, right? So this contract, if we include 2023, this offer that the Padres made, you include the $30 million from 2023 and the $255 for the 10-year deal after 2023. So the deal starting in 2024, 30 plus the 255, 285. So that deal, let's say it's 11 years, Manny signs the extension. It would have been 11 years, including this year, for $285 million. Only $5 million more than what Xander got. That's not going to do it. Manny knows that he is worth more than only $5 million more than what Xander got. And Xander's a great player. I'm not saying Xander's not. And some people think the $280 million that Xander got was an overpay. Right? So if you have to be overpaying Machado to get a deal done, 285 is not going to get it done. Not going to get it done. In total, the 11 years, including this year. So that's what we know right now. February 16th was the deadline, according to Manny. It was passed with one offer. 5 years, $21 million a year tacked on to the 5 years, $150 that were remaining on the deal after 2023. That's not good enough. Especially when Manny is seeing all the money being thrown at big free agents this offseason, right? I looked at the contract situations, right, on Spot Track. So Aaron Judge, he's going to be entering his age 31 season with the Yankees. He signed a $360 million contract, 9 years. And the Padres, the team Manny is on, was willing to offer Judge more than $400 million for a guy that's never played on the team. And remember, essentially, the Padres are offering Manny $255 on this contract because you're not counting 2023 here. Even if you are, okay, $285, the difference between $360 and $285 is what? $75 million. That's a big gap. I'm not saying Manny is going to get $360. Maybe that's too high of a bar to be asking for. But the Padres are willing to give Trey Turner $342 million. And I know that he is, I think, a little bit younger. Let's take off 1 year off of the 342, 11 years that I believe the Padres offered Trey Turner that he turned down. He took 11 for $300 with the Phillies, right? Take off 1 year from that. The AAV on that was like 31 mil, I think, somewhere around there. Let me double check that. 342 divided by 11, a little over 31 million. So let's take 31 million off the 342. That's still over $310 million that the Padres would have been paying Trey Turner if it was like a 10-year deal on that same AAV, if that makes sense. That's still more money. That's what, $25 million more than Trey Turner? Or excuse me, $25 million more than Manny, than this 285 offer, right? That's not good enough. That's not good enough. This was kind of my fear, right? I didn't think I wasn't that scared of it because I didn't think the Padres were going to lowball Manny. Because all we've heard from the Padres is that it's their priority to keep Manny as a Padre for life. And it might be. With Joe Musgrove, I think it's worth it to point out with Joe Musgrove that initially, right, Musgrove had a deadline, and Musgrove allowed the Padres to negotiate beyond that deadline. Like, he allowed the talks to extend beyond the deadline. I think at that point he was like busy with the All-Star game stuff. A lot of stuff was going on. So he allowed it to continue. But one of the offers by the Padres reportedly during these negotiations for the Musgrove extension was 8 years, $88 million, $11 million a year. He ended up getting $20 million from the Padres. I know it was less years, 5 for 100, but he ended up getting more money from the Padres. The Padres improved their offer. So this is the floor that the Padres are willing to go, obviously. This is the lowest offer, right? You're not going to go lower than this. So you hope that it improves. Their offers improve. But again, Manny, he put in the extension deadline. Like, the deadline for Manny reportedly has passed. Manny has admitted to Kevin Acee on record that the deadline has passed. The deadline was February 16th, and now it's gone, right? So if the Padres say they go to Daniel Lozano, Manny's agent, and say, you know what, 11, 12 years, 350, is Manny going to say, no, the deadline already passed, sorry? Or is he going to say, no, I like that. That's much better than 285 over 11 years, which is what it would have been, including 2023, right? So if the Padres really increase their offer, I think Manny would think about it. I don't think he's going to say, well, no, I set the deadline. I'm not going to take $350 million from you on a contending team. I don't know if he's going to do that. But for that to happen, for Manny to, kind of waive that deadline that he set and say, okay, I'll talk, then the Padres are going to really have to improve their offer. Like, this was a low ball. And I'm not going to I don't want to smash the Padres, bash the Padres for this, because Peter Seidler, there's still time. And I'm hoping that Manny doesn't just stop talking to the Padres and like he's actually for real about a deadline when the season hasn't started yet. I'm just disappointed that the first offer was this low. Like, this is a low offer. This is 255 over 10 years for Manny. That's a low offer. And I know he's older, but that's a low offer. There's no denying that. So we'll see where this situation goes. I'm not going to bash Peter Seidler for this or AJ Preller, because if you have looked at prior negotiations with Joe Musgrove, right, I know that's a different circumstance. He loves San Diego kid. Like, it didn't seem like he was going to leave San Diego, right? I can't envision the Padres. I can't envision Manny being in another uniform, but there was a better chance, I think there is, of Manny leaving than there was of Musgrove leaving, I think. Just based on the situation. It's a little different, right? But yeah, this Peter Seidler, the Padres, right? You can lump Preller in there too, obviously. Their plan, or what they've done with extensions, Musgrove, let's use the Musgrove example, right? Like I talked about earlier. They were lowballing Musgrove at one point, but then it got to a point where Musgrove was good with the offer. And you can only hope that this is what's going to happen with Manny, right? The deadline passed for Musgrove, if I remember correctly, and he allowed it to continue. He allowed the talks to continue, right? It got to where he was comfortable, and he was like, yeah, I'll sign this extension. Manny, the deadline is passed. We'll see if it's a firm deadline. And if the Padres offer him the money he wants, he's going to sit there and say, no, I'm not taking this offer. Even if he loves being on the Padres and he just loves the situation that he's in. And that's what it seems like. It doesn't seem like he hates Peter Seidler or AJ Preller, right? The arms around Peter Seidler after they acquired Juan Soto before the trade deadline last year. The reception he got at FanFest, it seems like he's happy. I think that he set this deadline, and so far he's holding firm with the deadline, because of the Padres offer. Like if the Padres offer was $300 million, like their first offer, 2 days before the deadline, then maybe he wouldn't have admitted to Kevin Acee that, yeah, the deadline was here, and maybe he wouldn't have smiled if Kevin Acee would have brought up that offer. But because the offer was poor, I think he's more willing to talk. And like, I think this might be him saying, like, I want to be here. This offer is not good enough. Like, let's go. You got to improve this offer. I'm going to talk to Kevin Acee. He asked me a questions about this. I'm going to talk about it because the offer is a low ball offer. So I think if the offer was closer to what he wants, which what does Manny want? We don't know what he wants more than this. I guess that's what we know. Is it 350 for 12 years? Like he said that he wants to continue playing as what Nelson Cruz is playing. His age, what, 42, 43? So that's going to be a 12-year offer, right? 11-year offer. And the Padres, their offer, if you don't include 2023, it's 10 years at 255. Again, that's not good enough. I was expecting their first offer to be at least $300 million based on the contract Trey Turner, or don't even look at the contract Trey Turner got and what the contract that Aaron Judge got from the Yankees, the contract Trey Turner got from the Phillies. Look at the offer the Padres had to Trey Turner, right? A guy that's never played for the Padres in the major leagues. The offer they made to Aaron, or were willing to make to Aaron Judge when Aaron Judge has not played a game in that uniform, right? And Judge, he's the same age as Manny. Like going into Manny's first season in this next contract after the opt-out, I think he'll be the same age as Aaron Judge is right now entering his first year with the Yankees. And Judge was offered the Padres were willing to offer Judge over $400 million at the same age. And the Padres are offering Manny $255. That doesn't make sense. That's a low ball offer. So I can understand why Manny's probably upset right now. And that's, by the way, he spoke. Another thing I wanted to note. I'll get to the chat. Definitely. I see a lot of comments in there. Definitely will get to you. Bomani, I see you here in the stream room here. So if you want to come on, I'll put you on here in a sec. One thing to note is that Manny, he did not speak to the media on Thursday, which was his deadline. He didn't want to speak to the media then. He spoke to the media on Friday, February 17th, and that's when he said, I'm opting out at the end of the season. And I thought yesterday, on Friday, oh, this is a leverage play. This is smart from him. He wants the Padres to, put together a better offer. They better come up and pay him, right? We didn't know that he was saying this after his deadline, his self-imposed deadline that he put on the Padres. Him and his agent put on the Padres. So now it's like, okay, I can understand why he said that to the media. I'm opting out. Right? And now I can understand why he said there's a lot of money out there. Like there's a lot of money out there on other teams that would be willing to pay me much more than what you're willing to give me right now. This offer that you gave me 2 days before the deadline. According to Kevin Acee, Manny gave the Padres this deadline around the winter meetings. Before the winter meetings. One of the questions to Manny in this article from Acee, Manny, is it true that you and your agent gave the Padres a deadline in early December before the winter meetings? Yes, we did, Manny says. Before the winter meetings, before they were willing to offer Judge $400 million, and they had that meeting with Judge at Petco. Before, I don't know if it was before, but before we learned of, I think, the $342 million offer to Trey Turner that he rejected and took the $300 from the Phillies. The deadline was in there before this happened. So the Padres knew of it, and they decided to not go give an early offer to Manny to work this out. They waited 2 days before the deadline to offer him 10 years, $255 million, essentially. 11 years, $285, if you want to include 2023. Not good. Not good enough. It's probably better than the Red Sox lowballing Bogarts before spring training last year, or at spring training. I forget when that was. But this is what that seems like right now. So the Padres offer, it is definitely going to have to improve. Definitely going to have to improve. Bomani, if you want to come on the show and give your thoughts, let me see your face. I can't see your face. I'm bringing you on here.
Yeah.
Because I just, or maybe it's my, is it on my end? Because your screen's black. Your screen's black right now. So here, I'm gonna remove you, and then leave the room here, and then come back on, and I'll see what happens, and then we'll get you on. Okay, I'm gonna get to the chat here. I know you guys probably have a ton to say about this. But first, here's a message from Gaglione Bros, or about Gaglione Bros. This episode is sponsored by Gaglione Bros' famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries. Their main location is on Friars Road, and you can visit gaglionebros.com for their menu and contact information. You can also enjoy their cheesesteaks and fries at Petco Park and inside Snapdragon Stadium. All right. Looks like Bomani's back. We'll get him on here, and then I'll go to the chat. All right, Bomani. So you saw the recent news, the Manny Machado offer, the first offer. What do you think?
I mean, that's just him, that's Manny. We can work something out, but again, I was watching my friends over at Dodger Nation, and they really want Manny Machado in a Dodger uniform. So
Of course they do, because Manny Machado is the best third baseman in baseball, and they're mad that Manny Machado is a Padre right now.
yeah, they are. I mean, I think he would stay. I think he would stay. I think I'm gonna stay in the fan base. I like this fan base, but again, the offer makes me kind of wanna leave the fan base even early. So
Why?
I would give Manny three. I don't know. It's just because if Manny's not there, I've been watching him since he was a Dodger, and
So you're more
for
of
a
a
long
Manny
time.
fan.
So
You're a Manny fan, but you're more of a Manny fan than a Padres fan.
I mean, I I'm a Padres fan. It's just that Manny is just that good of player.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna get to the chat here. So thank you so much for being on the show, man. All right. Let's get back to the chat, or get to the chat for the first time. If you want to be on the show, click that link up in I think it's pinned in the chat here on YouTube. Subscribe. Talking Friars here. Padres content all the time. It's on podcast platforms as well, on social media at Talking Friars on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Preston says, yes, they should have done a new deal, 10 plus years, 300 plus total. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like 10 years, 300 is like, that's like the floor, probably what Manny was expecting. So when he got 10 years, essentially 255, according to this report from Kevin Acee, he was probably like, what the F is this? This offer? Really? You're seriously offering me this? Look at the offers you were willing to give to Trey Turner and Aaron Judge. Right? Look at all that money you were willing to give. Guys who aren't captains of the team right now. Guys who aren't the best player on the team right now. Guys who, yeah, Judge won the AL MVP last year, but Manny he won the NL MVP in my mind last year. Like he had the most valuable year among any National League player. Goldsman had better stats, but Manny, he was the MVP. So yeah, this offer is probably a little insulting for him. Austin says 11 years, 330 mil, take or leave it. I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like the Padres, they'd be willing to go a little more than that, but I'd be more okay with the Padres saying that to Manny. 11 years, 330, take it or leave it. That's our offer. Then 10 years, 255, like this, or 11 years, 285 if you include 2023, right? Because look how big of a contrast between the 11 years, 285 and the 11 years, 330 that Austin here puts in the chat. That's a big difference. That's what, $45 million difference? Okay, I could say then, okay, if Manny doesn't want to be here, doesn't take that, well, we offered him $330 million and he's 30, right? We really tried to bring him back. Like, that's a legitimate offer. This offer is a lowball offer. It's not a good enough offer. CBS 121 says 5 years for 105 is a joke, right? I mean, according to Kevin Acee, I mean, look, I know that, yeah, Austin in the chat here says, I don't believe a damn thing that Acee says. He's been wrong before a lot, right? Plenty of times. He's also been right before. And when a report like this comes out, and it's not like he's just saying according to sources, sometimes he is, but he literally talked to Manny Machado this morning. And he asked him on the record, did you set this deadline? And Manny, absolutely. And what does this mean? Are you done negotiating? Manny, I just want to focus on baseball. Is it true the Padres' only offer was 2 days before the deadline? Manny says, yeah. Offer 5 years at $21 million a year. And Manny smiles and says, you can write whatever you want, honestly. I don't know how you get this information, but write whatever. He didn't deny it, right? So, look, I'm not sitting here and saying Acee is 100% right, but he's right about something here. He's definitely right about something. So I hope that it's a joke. I hope that 5 years, $105 million tacked on to the 150 that they have after 2023 here. I hope that's a joke because that's not good enough. But that's all we have to judge off right now. Dennis Lynn hasn't wrote something that's contrasted that, right? And said that, no, that report's wrong. Or Ken Rosenthal hasn't wrote something that said that report's wrong. He spoke to Manny this morning, and Manny confirmed pretty much everything that he said. So you want the source, Manny's the source, right? He talked to him. So the offer's got to improve. Like that, at the end of the day, that's just what it comes down to. The offer's got to be better. I see Blue here. What's up, man?
Yo, what's good, man? Sorry for my background. Looks like crap. But
No, you're good.
Yeah, no, I really agree with everything basically you're saying. At the end of the day, we got to offer him our money. He saw what we offered Judge and Trey Turner and even Bogarts.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously, like, the market is going to change again in the next 5-10 years. So I feel like no matter what contract we give him, it's going to be worth it. We're going to get like what we like. Machado's one of those players. He comes to play every day. You know, I saw like your other video where it says he's not a top 10 player. That I hate that guy on ESPN, bro. I hate that guy.
Mad Dog, yeah.
Bro, I hate him so much.
That
Like,
guy.
saying,
He's not a great player. He's not a top 10 player, and then he doesn't even name 10 guys that are better than him.
And then he's naming players that don't play both sides of the ball. Like Jordan does not play defense. Like, obviously, like Machado takes it every day. He's just so valuable to this team. Obviously, like, our biggest signings were Hosmer, Machado at the time, you know. And I feel like it's also kind of gives the Padres maybe a bad look in a way if we don't give Machado the money, because it doesn't show our loyalty to the players that kind of like was the root of our like really got the Padres on the map, you know. I mean, as you see, there's a lot of bandwagons out there, and it kind of started with Manny Machado being as a Padre, man. It starts with that. So obviously it's hard because we want to keep Soto too, and I know we'll have our eyes on Ohtani. I mean, it's a good position to be in. We'll say that.
I want to hit on that. So, look, in the future, so let's say that, you know, this Manny thing doesn't work out. This deadline is actually a deadline, and he's not going to negotiate. Yeah. And Manny goes somewhere else. Okay, well, then they can have this. This allows them to spend a ton of money on Ohtani in free agency if they land Ohtani. not the end of the world. You still have
It's
Bogarts.
not.
You
That's
still
what
have
we gotta realize as
Tatis.
Padre fans. Like, it's
You
a
still
good
have
time to be a
Cronenworth.
Padre fan.
You
Oh
have
yeah,
Ohtani if you get him. Like, you have Darvish. You have Suarez. You have Musgrove. Like, it's not the end of the world if Manny is not
I mean,
on the
worst
Padres.
case, you move Bogarts to third.
Right.
Like,
It's
and
not.
Tatis
It's
goes back
not the
short
end of the
or
world.
whatever. No.
I totally recognize that. They can get
Yeah.
Ohtani, but it's not a guarantee that Ohtani comes. Like, we've seen that.
Yeah.
We saw it this offseason with Judge and with Turner. They didn't come here. Most
Yeah.
money? Nah, they were good. They went to
That's
the teams that
crazy.
they wanted to go to.
Yeah.
If they don't get Ohtani, okay, well, then there's Soto. But what if Soto doesn't want to be here? What if he just wants to go to free agency and Steve Cohen offers him
Yeah, with
$550 million?
Yeah, with his agent
Like,
too. You know,
because
like, but you never know with
yeah,
his
with
agent.
Boris,
Yeah, you never know. Man.
he can do that. What if that doesn't happen? And then, okay, who's after that? Corbin Burns. They'll have Merrill come up. It's not. Look, if they don't, even if they don't bring in any of those guys, well, one will probably be pissed off. We'll be disappointed that Manny, Soto, or Ohtani, all three of those guys are not Padres at some point here.
Yeah, that
when they're
that's the
all free
worst
agents
case
and they sign
scenario.
elsewhere, that would be bad.
Yeah.
But even without them, you would have Bogarts long term.
And Tatis,
You would have Tatis long term.
Yeah.
Who else am I missing?
Kind of a
Merrill would be
shame
coming up.
that the Padres
Musgrove,
can't.
Darvish. Like,
Yeah.
look, my point here is if you don't get Manny, you still can get Ohtani and Soto. But if you don't, that's where it's like, okay, this doesn't look great. But there's still talent. The good news is there's still talent here already long term locked in, which is good.
Yeah.
But they need to get one of these three guys to keep
for sure
in that lineup. I mean, because if you want this, like Seidler said, he doesn't view it as a window. You want to consistently win, then you need this firepower at the top of the order. We don't want this to be a 2-year thing where it's Manny, Soto, Tatis, Bogarts, and it's that for 1 year, and then it's those three guys minus Manny for one more year, and then now it's two of those guys, right? Like, you don't want that. Then it feels like it becomes more of a window. I know there's other free agents out there. They could have Manny walk and go get Matt Chapman, and that's not the end of the world. But look, I think all Padres fans, our sights are on Manny, Soto, Ohtani. Most of us probably want two of those three guys. We need at least one of those guys, I feel like, if we're going to want to compete long-term World Series contention year in, year out, for not just a window, but for the next decade,
Yeah, and I don't think Preller or Seidler would like, they're keeping at least one. Like, they're giving one of the money out, like the ultimate money, the ultimate bag. If like it doesn't become Machado, then they're giving that bag to Juan Soto, 100%. Like,
right, but then there's the scary thing. Like, okay, if Manny's not here, then if he gets offered a bunch of money in an extension with the Padres, and he's closer to free agency than he is now, and he says, well, Manny's gone, I'm going to go to free agency. I'm close to free agency.
Yeah.
Scott Boras is going to have other teams offering me over $500 million. So, you know what? Like, I'm not signing this extension. If this is still on the table, I know it's still going to be on the table in free agency, because it's going to have to be on the table if you want me, because the Mets are going to offer this. The Giants are going to offer this. The Dodgers, if they don't get Ohtani, they're going to offer this,
Yeah, this year for Soto is going to be really big for Soto's career, because we get to see a full year at him at Petco Park. I think if he actually hits, I think he should hit well. I'm not sure how many home runs he's going to hit. I would predict maybe 28, 30-ish, around that mark, hopefully.
Yeah. He hit 30 home runs once in his career.
Yeah, he's not a home run hitter. He's a double machine. It's kind of you don't really notice it as much because he doesn't have speed. So he's not going to second, getting double and stealing third like that. But he's getting on base at a good clip, And so I think this year is really big for him at Petco Park, just to see how he adjusts to the park in a whole year. This year's gonna be big in general. We don't play the Dodgers as much. We play every team equally. We play every team. So I think that's gonna be good for Soto, because I think when you are in a division, you see that division a lot. So I think since he was in the NL East his whole career, he knew that division. And coming over to the NL West has a lot of good pitchers. Every team, even the Diamondbacks, have good pitchers up and down. So I think like he had to adjust to the NL West a little bit. He had to face
And
a lot of
no
Dodgers and
shift.
Giants.
No shift is going to be huge for him.
Yeah,
because
for
he hits
sure.
a ton of bullets to right field. Last one here. I see Pedro here, so I'll get to him here in a sec.
Yeah, for sure.
Last one. What do you think this extension offer is going to have to get to? Like, let's say Manny, this isn't like actually, okay, I'm not going to talk at all. I don't care how much money you offer. I'm not going to talk at all the rest of the year. Like, I set the deadline, and that's the deadline. If, let's say, that's not the case, and they can still talk with him,
Yeah.
what do you think that offer is going to have to be for him to like actually seriously think about this?
It's gonna have to start with a 10-year, $300 million. It's gonna have to start with that, and it's gonna have to just off what they gave Bogarts and everyone. He sees that, and it's not like he just was second in MVP. It's not like he didn't like just carry us to the playoffs. Let's just be honest. Like if we didn't have Manny Machado, that team was not making the playoffs last year. And
definitely.
even Hosmer, bro. Hosmer played a big part in that first half. I want honestly.
First month.
First like month and a half. He was hitting like 300. But let's be honest, like without those two right there in the first month or two, we're not sailing over 500 ball to start off and feeling good about our season. And Manny Machado is huge. Like I said, it has to be 10 years, 300 mil, and that's just how this starts with, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless,
especially
like,
with what he's seeing. What he's seeing.
They go like a 5-year, like 35 million plus, like kind of thing, 40 mil, and then he maybe opts out, kind of like what he's doing now. I can see that kind of happening, but I don't know.
It's got it definitely has to improve. All right, thank you, Blue. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
All right, let's get to Pedro here. What's up, man? How do you feel about this news?
Hey, big fan, but I just wanted to keep it short and simple. And it's gonna probably be like upset most of even yourself. Like Manny, he's great, he's good, but he's not the filet mignon. He's not the lobster. He's the side dish. He's the side piece, the side chick. Okay. So he has to know his role. Step in line with you and Musgrove. If you want to build a dynasty, then stick with the Padres. But if you want to get the money, chase the bag. And I know, he's outperformed his contract, but at the same time, he's not the main piece. So you got to understand that.
Who's the main piece then?
Well, you tell me. That's why I kind of put in the chat. Whose jersey do you see in the stores? At Macy's, at Lids, at everywhere. Even though
what I see right now, the face of the franchise I see is Manny Machado. He's the best player on the team right now.
And I'll leave it at this. You said he was your MVP, but what does he want? If my Aunt B had balls, he'd be my Uncle B or whatever the saying is, right?
Yeah.
It hasn't happened. Right. Manny needs to perform this year if he wants that, or I'm not mad at the Padres, bend to his wishes. But at the same time, I'm going to say that Manny hasn't got the MVP or the Gold Gloves. Arenado. So I even said this in the beginning, this is a tryout for all these fools. For Tatis, even like if they could get rid of him somehow, even though he has a no trade, for Soto, for all this Ohtani talk, this is the year. The Preller, Styler, this is like a tryout. They're saying, well, who are we going to invest the future to? 30, 31-year-old Manny, who's been consistent and he posts. I like that. But he's not the superstar. We got to, he's like a complementary piece. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, okay. I think if what I would say to, what has Manny done? What has he won and all that? Aaron Judge just got 360 from the Yankees. What has he done? He has the MVP, but has he won a World Series? Gotten to a World Series?
Yankees are for legacy. They're thinking, they're trying to cash in. We're going to win World Series, or we're going to win T-shirts with Judge's 700 home run. And, that's the Yankees. They're thinking about merchandising. They're thinking of selling dirt. Oh, this is the baseball dirt from a Judge's home run game. That's the Yankees. Padres, we're trying to win that first chip. So let's win that first one, and then let's talk. You want 400, 500? You want a statue contract like Tatis or Gwynn? Right. Then show me the championships, and then because this is our first. We can't be giving Machado. And I get it. He wants to. The last thing I wanted to say real quick, even though I was going to keep it short, was I think Preller and Siler were bluffing at Turner and Judge. They didn't want him in the NL West or the NL, so I think that was all just bogus. I thought it was just kind of they were going to say, I know you don't want to come to San Diego, Judge, but here's this, so you don't go to the Giants or Turner
Yeah, but
doesn't.
here's what happens when that happens, though.
Yeah,
Because let's say they are bluffing and
yeah.
they didn't really they knew that they were going to go. You're offering that. That tells Manny that you have that money. You're willing to offer that money to a player,
I don't, I
and
don't
that
know
gets
about
Manny that increases Manny's asking price. Let's say they didn't
well,
offer Trey Turner that amount of money. Maybe
well, that
Manny's not asking for 350 now
well that
because
goes to everyone saying, well, how's San Diego going to make all this money? It's like who knows if they show them the books and the accounting stuff, then that's up to the parties. But I think it was just. But I love your show, big time subscriber, and keep up the good work, and you're better than some of the guys, the older guys out here that are I guess fakers.
I appreciate
All
it,
right.
Pedro. Thank you so much,
Okay.
man. Go Pods. All right, that was cool. Okay, let's get back to the chat. There's a lot of people in here. I appreciate everyone for being here. I have not seen any other stuff on this Manny negotiations or anything like that. Robbie says that $105 million extension pushes his total contract to $405 million at the end. That's a fair number unless he wants a total of 500. Well, no, but if you're looking at that, like that's 15 years, $405 million, right? What's the AAV on that? That's 27 million a year for 15 years. Like that's a lot of money. 405 or what did you say? 405, $405 million over 15 years. Okay. That's a lot of money. But you can't look at it like that because what you got to look at it as is what is Manny looking for? That's what matters here. What is Manny looking for in this next contract? Aaron Judge just got $360 million at the same age that Manny Machado is going to be in that first year of that next contract, right? Trey Turner was offered $342 million at around the same age that Manny Machado's at. And the Padres, they decided to offer Manny $255 million if you don't take into account 2023, which we shouldn't be because this next contract is about after 2023 because it's $30 million this year. That's the AAV for this year. We got to look at the next contract. So don't look at the total number because that's not what Manny's looking at. He's not looking at, oh, okay, I got $405 million over 15 years. He's looking at what other guys got in their contract because he's at that same age. Like that's what he cares about right now, I think. Alex says this deal is becoming a distraction at this point. Either get the deal done or don't. We have a full season ahead of us. Well, look, Manny put the deadline in February 16th. That has passed. So if he's sticking by his word, then I don't know how much of a distraction it will be because there won't be any negotiations then. If he's actually firm about the deadline and the Padres try to offer him over $300 million on their next deal because they know that this one is a lowballed offer, they offer him over $300 million and he says, no, I already said that February 16th was the deadline. You should have offered me this then it won't be a distraction because there will be no negotiations. There won't be the media asking, what's the latest offer? Because there will be no negotiations happening, right? CBS 121 says if Manny wants $400 million, let him walk, extend Soto, who's younger. Soto, Tatis, Bogart's not bad. Yeah, if Manny walks and they extend Soto, like that's I won't be too mad at that. I mean, well, I'll be happy about that. Like having Soto here long term, that's great. I want Manny here long term and Soto, but if we get one of them here long term, just one of them, that's going to bring a smile probably to my face. Definitely when the news happens, because that guarantees that the long-term core is going to be Manny, Tatis, Bogarts, or it's going to be Soto, Tatis, Bogarts. That's a good big three right there. That's a solid big three long-term. There are many teams out there that would love to have that, right? And we have all 4 of those guys right now. So yes, sink in this moment. Like, let this sink in. We have all 4 of these guys. Just relish this moment, this year, this whole season, because we don't know if we're going to have this next year, right? Just appreciate this. But right now in the off season, this news comes down. I'm going to react to it, and fans are going to be probably irritated. Some are irritated. Some are like, well, I'm fine with having Soto as a Padre, but that's not a guarantee. We haven't heard about any talks that the Padres have had with Juan Soto about a long-term contract. So it's not a guarantee Soto will come. If Manny leaves, it's not a guarantee that Soto's going to be extended. It's not a guarantee that Ohtani's coming to the Padres if Manny's not here. All right? So I'm worried about Manny right now just because that's what the Padres can control right now. Right? Or maybe they can't control it now because the deadline has already passed. But I refuse to believe that this is actually a hard deadline. Like, the Padres go and offer him $350 million later today after he's done hitting BP, and he's going to say, no, I'm turning this down. I'm not even talking about this with you because the deadline was February 16th. I'm not talking about this anymore when he's not even playing in actual games. Right? I just don't see that. Like, money talks, especially when you like where you are, which Manny does. I think money will talk. Bomani, you want to give more thoughts on this?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So yeah, Manny Machado. We already talked. Me and him at FanFest. I told him if he's gonna leave, I'm leaving. So he told me, say he would try work something out, but I think he would stay. I think he will be a Padre, and I'm coming back next year to the Padres. But if he's gone, I'm gone. So.
All right. Whoa. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna have to remove you because in the background, some of the language there. All right. Well, hopefully Manny stays. I mean, look, real diehard Padres fans, it doesn't matter who's on the team. They're a Padres fan, right? It's not like the NBA where you're a LeBron fan and wherever he goes, you go. That's not the way this should be. You can do that. If you want to do that, go ahead. Go do that. But if Manny's here, I'm a Padres fan. If Manny's not here, I'm a Padres fan. If it's Corey Spangenberg, Carlos Asuaje, Ryan Schimpf, and Hunter Renfroe, like, I'm a Padres fan. You know, that's just who I am. Alex says, if this was the offer, I think the Padres are playing chess, seeing how committed and passionate he really is for this city and organization. There's no rush for a deal. More offers will come. There's no rush for a deal. You could say that, yeah. Like the Padres, I think Kevin Acee said here in his article, like the Padres think that they have all year long to extend Manny. But there is that chance that Manny, like, is actually, saying, no, this is the deadline. I'm not talking the rest of the year. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that that's actually the case. But maybe it is. So that maybe there's no rush now from where the Padres stand and just looking at when Manny's going to be a free agent. Okay, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. That's a long time away from now, right? But what matters as well is Manny, his calendar. How long do they have according to Manny? And according to Manny, at least what he's telling Kevin Acee, they don't have any time. The deadline already passed. Now, I think Aaron Judge, if I want to hit back on him, I think did he set a deadline with the Yankees? I'm not sure if he set a deadline by opening day, but I do remember that the Yankees lowballed Judge, I think, before opening day, and then they didn't offer him. They let him go to free agency, and then they brought him back in free agency. Judge ended up getting a lot more money. He had a great year too, but he ended up getting a lot more money. Let me look up Judge's Judge offer before opening day, I think it was last year. I'm just trying to compare. Maybe this is what. Okay, so New York, they offered Judge $213.5 million, that extension before opening day. And he declined it. He ended up getting $360 million. So quick math, maybe not so quick. I'm doing this calculator. 213.5. He earned $146.5 more million based off of waiting for free agency than signing that extension that the Yankees offered. Maybe that's what Manny's doing. So I don't remember if that was a deadline for Judge, but he turned down that deal before opening day. And the Yankees made the offer known. Like, Brian Cashman put the offer out there. And he didn't take it. Judge didn't take it. And he ended up getting $360 from that same team after the season. So maybe that's what Manny's doing. He's like, all right, really? 10 years, $255? That's what you want to be offering me right now after 2023? You're going to be offering me more when I'm in free agency. And, you're on the hot seat here if you want me here, right? Like, there's actual heat here. And you're not the only team offering me money. Maybe that's his strategy because he feels maybe disrespected by the Padres offer. And Pedro, I see Pedro in the chat here. This was, I think, before he came on. He was talking about, he said this during when he was on here. Machado needs to know his role, not the superstar money. No, but I disagree. I mean, Manny he is a superstar. I think he's a top 10 player in baseball. And if Manny's not superstar money, then who is? So Tatis is not a superstar then. Bogarts is not a superstar. Musgrove is not a superstar because it's a team, right? Baseball's a team sport. So are none of them superstars? Like, there are superstars still in Major League Baseball that you have to pay this money to. Like, that's just the way it is. And the Padres, they showed their hand. They were willing to go over $400 million for Aaron Judge. They were willing to go $340 million, $342 for Trey Turner. And 2 days before Manny's deadline, they're only willing to go $255 for Manny, who's been here, the best player on the team right now. I definitely see why Manny said he probably looked at that and laughed. I think Kevin Acee, look, there's some people that don't care what he says, and he's making stuff up, and they just don't believe him. But for what it's worth, I think it was John and Jim yesterday, he's San Diego Sports 760. He said that Manny's probably looking for between what Turner got and what Judge got, the 342 and the 360. What's kind of the middle there, like 350. And like I said the other day, 12 years, 350. I think that can get it done. I'm fine with that deal. That takes Manny till over 40, which is what he wants. He's told the media he wants to play till how old Nelson Cruz is, and it gets him the money. It's a much better offer than this offer, I'll tell you that. Austin says, source, trust me, bro. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's that joke around social media about AC sources, and he has been wrong, right? I'm definitely not going to sit here and defend AC at all costs. Like, last year, what did he say? Before the deadline, he was told that Hosmer was told he's not going to be traded, and then Hosmer gets traded, right? Like, he has been definitely wrong. But the source is Manny Machado. Like, that's the difference here. He asked Manny, did you set this deadline? When was this deadline? February 16th. Like, Manny said, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That was the deadline. Yes, we did. We set the deadline. Was that deadline February 16th? Absolutely. Why February 16th? Just wanted to focus on baseball. Is it true the only offer the Padres made was 2 days before the deadline? Yeah. From Manny. This is what he's saying. and the offer was for 5 years at $21 million a year, and Manny smiles. You can write whatever you want, honestly. I don't know how you get this info, but write whatever. You can say he's lying about the 5 year, or you don't believe him the 5 years, $21 million a year, but you can't deny that there was a deadline set, because Manny said yes, there was a deadline set. That's the source, the guy that would be signing the contract. Robbie says, guess we don't need to worry about Machado getting a statue at this point. Well, I mean, let's say Machado hits a walk-off homer in the World Series and the Padres win. Do you build him a statue? I don't know. I mean, what happens? What happens if he's the big guy winning a World Series? What happens? But I get your point, Robbie, about the contract. Yeah, right now it's not looking great. And yeah, I'm more worried now than I was yesterday about the Padres getting an extension done with Manny before opening day. I thought yesterday, I think that's what I said, I thought that a Manny extension was going to get done before opening day. His comments did not worry me because he said he was going to opt out. We already knew that. He didn't say he wasn't signing back with the Padres. We didn't know that he already had a deadline set and the deadline has passed for negotiations. We didn't know that the Padres lowballed him, right? So I didn't care really what Manny said yesterday. That didn't worry me. But this can worry people like me that are diehard fans, wanting Manny to return and who are paying attention to this every day, right? Austin says there's always something distracting us from enjoying the team. I mean, look, we can enjoy I'm going to enjoy the team during the season, but there's nothing happening right now. They're just doing batting practice, right? And this is the biggest news of the day around Padre land. There's nothing happening. They're just working out. What, you want me to sit here for an hour, enjoy working or enjoy watching them run the bases and take batting practice? This is the huge story. So during the season, yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. Trust me, I'm not going to be talking about a Manny extension every night during the season if he does something well. No. But right now, when this news comes out that that the deadline is passed, that is very noteworthy. Let's see here. 7th inning stretch says if he got 35 mil per year or more, that's only 5 million more that we are paying him per year. It's not like it adds on to what he would be making. They need to pay him. We saw what they gave free agents. Yeah. Well, I think, look, if they don't want Manny here, then don't make an offer to Manny. Right? If they're very confident they can bring back Soto, or they want to put all their money in the Ohtani basket, right? All the reports about they're going to be all in on Ohtani. Expect them to be maybe the highest bidder for Ohtani. An Angel source told John Heyman that the other day. If they want to put all their eggs in the Ohtani basket or put all their eggs in the Soto basket, okay. But then don't make this lowball offer to Manny, right? Don't say that Manny is a priority. Loans by Sean says, who said the Padres lowballed Manny? LOL source. I mean, that's not a lowball. 10 years for 255 is not a lowball. Come on. Yeah, it is. Quan says if Manny hits free agency, he's going to get 400 mil. Maybe. I don't know about 400 mil at 30, but I I mean, Judge just had like an amazing platform season, and he didn't get that. Padres are willing to do it, but he got 360 from the Yankees. I don't know if Manny gets 400, but he would get over 300. That's for sure. Definitely more than 285, 255. Quinn says Manny is greedy, to be honest. Kind of sucks. I mean, look, he's trying to get his fair value when he's looking at other guys that are getting more money than what the Padres are offering. Other guys were offered more money than he's being offered. When he's the captain of the team, he's the best player on the team. Like, he just wants the fair value. He's not asking for $500 million. I think he wants a reasonable deal. 255 that's a low ball. Yeah, I agree, Ron. Yeah. Why would the Padres make that offer knowing it's insulting? I understand negotiations, but damn. Like, that should not have been their baseline. Maybe like talking amongst each other in the front office, but then they should come together and say, we're not doing that. We're not letting that get out. That's not happening. We're not offering that to Manny. Manny speaks his mind when he wants to. Like, their baseline, their offer should have been like 300, I think. 10 for 300. That should have been, if you offer that and Manny's like, okay, not doing it. All right, I can respect you more. But 10 for 255, that's not even close. Just going through the chat here, seeing if there's anything else that I want to pull up here. Yeah, I agree with this. Says, I don't think Manny's getting hate for this. If anything, it's embarrassing for the front office. Some people are calling Manny greedy. Some people are saying that focus on Soto or focus on Ohtani. But this it's not like they offered him 300. They offered him 255. That's not even close to what he would be getting on the market, on free agent market. So for the podcast audience, I know there's probably a lot of dead air there. I'm just scrolling through the comments right now, just because there's a ton of comments in here. If you want to make sure I get to your comment, use that super chat button and I will get to it. But there's a lot of comments here, and there's a lot of comments that it's not worth pulling up and talking about. CBS 121, Manny, 10 years, 350. Get it done. Let's enjoy the ride. Truly says, so since his deadline is over, will he not extend? I don't know. I find it hard to believe that if the Padres give him, offer him 350, that he's going to sit there and say, I already gave you the deadline. We're not talking anymore. Sorry, I'm going to free agency. Like, money does talk. If they really improve the offer, I don't see him sticking with the deadline. But if it's still this offer or it's under 300 mil, then yeah, he's going to say no to it. Yeah, I disagree. Was that Pedro? Yeah, that came on here. Yeah, Pedro. Sorry, man. I disagree. Saying Manny's a side piece. I don't think so, dude. He's the best player on the team. He should have won MVP last year. That's not a side piece. The 3-hitter in the Padres lineup that includes Soto, Tatis, and Bogarts as well, and Cronenworth, like that's not the side piece. Yeah, I apologize, guys, for the language there. I can't control that. Once I heard the language in the background, I kicked him off. Yeah, sorry for that. Charlie here with a question. Now that we know Manny is planning to opt out, if the Padres are contending and the Padres tried everything to sign Manny to no avail, would you consider trading him? No. Unless he like demands for a trade, but no, you don't trade him. Like if he's walking and he's going to opt out, you can try for him again in free agency. And this year they're going all in. 2023, this is the most all in AJ Preller has ever been. Right? This is the best team on paper, maybe in Padres history. It's the best team on paper in my lifetime for sure. So you don't trade Manny under any circumstance unless he demands a trade. And he's like really pissed off and like you can get major league talent back for him in a deal. You don't trade him. You can go get like Corbin Burns back and multiple big time people in a trade. But no, or you trade him to an AL team. You're not trading Manny Machado. Like I'm surprised I went that deep into talking about it. They're not trading the best player on the team. Even if he's not going to sign a extension, if he's going to opt out, like we know he's opting out. He said that Friday. But let's say he's not signing an extension and the deadline, February 16th deadline was actually the deadline. You're still not trading the guy. He's the 3-hitter on arguably the best lineup in the National League. You're not trading him. When you're trying to win it all this year, like if they don't win the World Series this year, it's hard for me to say it's a failure of a year. But if they don't get to the NLCS, it's a failure. If they don't win the NLCS, it's probably a failure because we're talking about progress, right? And they got to the NLCS without Tatis. If everyone's healthy and they don't get to the World Series, it feels like a pretty darn big disappointment to me. I know it's hard. It's going to be hard to win the National League pennant this year. It's going to be hard to win the World Series. It'll be hard to win the division. But you're trying to make progress. This team won 89 games last year. They've improved. They've gotten Tatis, essentially, because he wasn't there last year. Bogarts. They have Hader for a full season. They have Soto for a full season without the shift. They have Carpenter. They have Cruz. Suarez is still here. Martinez. They brought in Lugo. Like, Waka. I mean, Snell on a walk here. Probably motivated to pitch his butt off, right? Like, it's a must-win year. Oh, dang, my bad. Pedro with the super chat here. I appreciate it. He asks, who's your core guys you want to keep, either on the team or fantasy in future? Can't keep them all. What do you mean? So my core guys, like, are you talking about like a big 3? Who do I want to keep? Well, we know Tatis is a part of the core because he's here long term. We know Bogarts is part of the core because he's here long term. And if they have Manny or Soto, I'm fine with that. If one of them leaves and the other's here long term, I guess I'm fine with that. If Ohtani's here long term and Manny and Soto are not here long term, I guess I'm fine with that. I'd rather have an everyday like position player as part of the core along with Bogarts and Tatis, but it is Shohei Ohtani. So I'd be really excited if he came. But yeah, Manny, if he comes back, he's a core player. He's the best player on the team. Like, that's like if Steph for the Warriors, he was a free agent in 1 year, and you're saying that Steph is not a part of the Warriors core. No, he definitely is part of the Warriors core. He is the Warriors. Manny's the face of the team. I'm sure everyone's freaking out on social media about this, huh? I haven't even checked. John says 9 years, 342 mil would satisfy the concern. I mean, yeah, that would satisfy the concern probably, but that's a really high AAV, right? What's the AAV on that? 38 mil a year? The Padres don't want to have $38 million going to one player a year. Why do you think that they made that Bogarts contract so long, right? And the Waka deal, they didn't want to give him 15 mil a year, but they'll give him 6 for a longer period of time. Darvish, they didn't want to pay him 30 million a year. They'll give him the money he wants, but for 6 years, not 3 or 2. Charlie says Manny has a 6-team no trade clause. Why are we talking about Manny being traded? I know someone asked that, so that's why I talked about it, but Manny's not getting traded. Like, can we stop? Let's end that right now. He's not being traded. The only way I see him being traded is if he like demands a trade and he's pissed off at Peter Seidler or something. He's not being traded. A year they're trying to go all in to win a World Series. You're not trading your best player. Anyone that comments about the Padres trading Manny, I'm not even addressing it, at least today. If we hear like a report, someone writes something about Manny, if he doesn't get an extension, he's going to ask for a trade or something, then I'll address it. But that's just stupid. That would be stupid for the Padres to trade Manny in 2023. Yeah, I agree, Annabelle. Yeah. Perfect way to end it. The Padres would be stupid to trade him. Yep. It's not happening. Not happening. All right. That was Talking Friars episode 341. Wasn't planning to do that today, but Kevin Acee dropped that short interview with Manny and those details. So just a quick summary again here. Manny Machado set a February 16th deadline for Padres extension talks. That deadline is passed. The Padres extension offer was 5 years tacked on to the 5 for 150 that he was going to be on, that he's on under this current contract starting in 2024. Tacked on 5 years, 21 mil a year, 105 in total. So it would have been 10 years, 255 essentially, starting in 2024. We know he's going to get over 300 million in free agency. So that's not good enough. That's not even close. The Padres, they're going to need to step up their offer. They lowballed Manny in this offer. We'll see if Manny's still open to talks, if the Padres offer him more than 300 at some point this year. But right now, it doesn't look so great.